I was crying for these sons. Same nigga acting like it was. Same nigga probably with the gun. Niggas always asking for a dollar. Looking at a hundred like a crumb. Running circles is a curse.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to David and Nino's podcast. I'm your host, David.
And I'm Nino.
And that was the great All the Done. His hit, Lights Go Out. Make sure everybody go out there and get that. It's the hottest song out. And a special shout out to his manager, Clint, my main man, Luther and Bruce, and all the brothers in the DFW, all the ladies in the Houston area, San Antonio, and the Fort Worth area. And a special shout out to my brothers on the East Coast and West Coast, all the ladies out there, and especially to the ladies, Carnella, Amy, Tammy, Brandon, Kennedy, Carnella. Nino, have we missed anybody?
Justice, Shelly, Miss Allie, Miss Carmen, and last but not least, Miss Naomi.
And all the other ladies we missed, we love you, and we sorry we didn't give you a shout out, but we love you and we appreciate you listening and following us. Today we want to talk about something. Me and Nino was out the other day and we was out shopping, and we saw something that we want to talk to y'all about. We saw a kid disrespecting his parent inside of a store. And the parent couldn't get the kid to stop crying and acting up. And everybody was watching, and it caused a big scene. It caused a big scene because the lady actually spanked her kid in public. And you had a lot of people mad about that. And in my opinion, the kid needed something to be done because the kid was being very unruly, being disrespectful, and causing a scene. And when the mother tried to talk to the kid just went to shaking and doing all kind of gyrating, and it was just a big embarrassment. It caused a scene for everybody in the store, and the parent was really embarrassed. So what we want to talk about today is, how do you deal with kids that don't mind their parents? You know, what is your breaking point? What would you do if your kid embarrassed you like that? Do you have a breaking point to where you would say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm through dealing with this kid and I'm not gonna bother with him no more, and he's on his own? Is there an age, or is there something that this kid could do that you will say that I am through with him, I have disowned him, and he can raise himself? Nino, have you ever heard that out of, with some of the young ladies you dealt with that have children, and, some of your experiences? Is there anything that a kid could do like that where you would say, hey, I'm through with this kid, and he can go on about his business?
Well, I think first of all, you have a series, or you gotta look at the spectrum like this. It's two different levels of this. Now, if the kid is like from around 9 to 12 in adolescent area or adolescence, I believe that you're gonna probably have to go home and give him or her a punishment, because let's just be point blank. Now, at that age, if you probably throw out a kid or do something besides just give him punishment or disown him or go something like that, I think that's kind of against the law. But now, if you go on with like a teenager from maybe like from 13 to 18, then you have more boundaries where I think you can set more rules for the kid. And then if the kid keep acting up or not standing coming up or being respectful or following your rules and your boundaries, then it's possibly that you might have to go to some more serious kind of punishment, or even consider, like I say, even like an 18-year-old kid, where maybe you might have to think about possibly, maybe I have to, I might get rid of them, or maybe it might have to be a change, but it has to be some serious adjustments.
Well, I'm wondering, is it okay, like, to spank your kid? What I found and what we saw in that incident is that when that parent spanked that kid started acting right, but you had other people around that were offended by it. And is disciplining your kids? Would that help out in this situation, you think?
Yes, because think about it, David, when we was younger, and I think everybody twists this around now about, oh, I can't spank my kid, or I can't do this or whatever. When I was growing up, I got spankings, and it didn't hurt me. But I know now you looked at if you spank a kid too much or whatever, and then they go back to school and they get it back to the superintendent or the principal or the school or something like that. Then they want to come, meaning the school or maybe somebody like that want to come to the house and like they want to come and then question the parents. But hey, what's wrong with it? I got spanked. That's what's wrong with it now. You can't. You don't want spanking. And brutality and abusing is two different things. But I don't see nothing wrong with spanking the kid. I mean, if you got out of line, that's the problem now. You can't spank the kid. I'm the parent. I'm not killing him or her, but I'm just spanking. You got disrespectful, so you got to get checked.
So spanking is good. We want to debate that right now. Is spanking good? Is that a way to get a kid to do what you want? Now, I look at spanking like it's a form of punishment. Where did that originate at? Where did spanking someone and beating someone, where did that originate, and where did they figure that would make a person do what they're told? To me, when we talk about spanking comes from slavery.
I know it.
I believe that it's true. You spare the rod, you spoil a child. But there's a fine line between beating a kid and disciplining a kid. I believe that sends the wrong message when we use force to try to get what we want out of a kid. That teaches them that they could use the same methods to get the result they want. I don't believe spanking is good. It sends the wrong message. Even though we saw that woman spank that kid, and that kid stopped crying and started to acting different. But to me, I was offended by it because it was violent, and it was teaching the kid violence. It was teaching the kid that by force you can get what you want. And I don't think that's a right message to be sending to discipline your kid, Nino.
Well, then what do? You give them a talk, and then what does it add up to? I mean, I have seen people say, well, just give them a talk and then have a conference with them, and they'll be good, they'll get the message. But a lot of times, a kid or a child or whoever will take that in one ear and go out the other. So I just say I kind of get it a little bit, but it's not nothing wrong with it, because I believe a lot of time parents have talked to their kids and they tried to go out the mile way. But sometimes you have to get a person straight with a reaction. And all I'm saying is, I think the spanking might come as, okay, well, this is a reaction from me to you. Talk about the parent to the kids.
Right. Well, it seems like violence breeds violence. And the parents, even though a lot of us who grew up being punished and being spanked and disciplined some kind of way. You know, I know a lot of kids that was got whippings with switches, extension cords, and this.
Right.
All of that. And now, if you were to do that and it's reported, you could go to jail as a parent for disciplining your kid. So that brings us to wondering then, if you can't discipline your kid, what could your kid possibly do that could make you turn on him? That would make you say, you know what? You are too disrespectful. You're not going by nothing I say. You're not doing what I say. I'm washing my hands of you. I want you out of my house. What could a person do? What could a kid do that could trigger that response? If you can't whoop them, and then they're still doing the things that you say that you don't want to tolerate. So then, what is the threshold where you say, you get out of my house?
Oh, you mean what would they do as far as bad or acting up?
Yes.
Oh, well, you can look at it like this. First of all, if you're stealing from me or taking my money or something like that, which it me just like, okay, I'm a guy, so I'm a father. So if you go in my wallet and take money from me, or your mom, if you go in her purse and take money from her, because why would you take from us when you could come and ask us, and mostly 9 times out of 10 we're gonna give it to you. So one point is you stealing money, because once you start stealing and then you say you're gonna stop, but then can I really believe you? Because most of the time, once a thief is always a thief, but not necessarily. But most of the time, if you're gonna start stealing from me and I'm your parent, then that's a line you can cross.
Well, is there any, does it matter what they steal, any amount, or is it just if they steal anything from you?
Well, now, okay, so I will say this. If it's a few dollars, we're still stealing and stealing, maybe we can get over it or like that, or maybe I'ma still be mad. But now, if it's a big amount of money and they say you're continuous doing it, like say $50 and up, oh yeah, it's a problem. I see it in me, because I'm like this. What are you stealing from? Why you can't come to me or your mom and say, hey, Pop, or hey, Muz, can I get this money from you? Or I need this or whatever. Even if it's to get a book or a game or whatever. Why are you stealing? Because one thing a person cannot stand is a thief.
That is bad if your kids are stealing from you. But do that reach the threshold of throwing them out of the house and turning your back on them and washing your hands up?
Well, now I will say that, David, and this go back to the adolescence, which I'm saying the 9 to the 12 compared to even maybe not 15, but now I'm gonna say if you 18 and stealing from me, it's a problem. You might have to get up out of there. Because see, now I'm thinking it's more than this. What is the capacity or you keep stealing from me? I mean, what do you got a kind of a problem, or what is you? I just don't get what is you stealing for when we present you everything here that you need. So right there, like I say, it's a difference. If it's adolescence, then I probably could work with you a little bit more. But if you 18 and I can see you almost grown, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, well, I agree with you 100% there. If someone's taking something that don't belong to them and they of age, especially they 18 years old, that's to me crosses the line. But to far as to throw a kid out, is to turn your back on the kid, and that's what I want to talk about. Is stealing money, is that enough? Did you ever steal from your parents or take something you weren't supposed to from your parent? I know a lot of people don't want to admit the bad things they possibly done over the years with their parents. And now we're going to look back and stand on higher ground and set standards higher for our kids. Instead of saying, okay, this is life, and these are life lessons that we got to teach them. We got to teach them without corporal punishment, without beating them, without letting them know that violence is the way to get the results you want. Now, with kids, parents, and this is what we're talking about today because of what we saw. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the best way to parent now. When do you start talking to your children about the things of life? For instance, when do you start talking to your children about sex? This is something that goes on out in everywhere. When we have a lot of teenage pregnancies, and that's not good. Unwed mothers. And it seems like the parents are not communicating with the kids and teaching them the things that they need to know about life. And so when we see things going on out there and we see kids having babies, to me that is a direct thing on how they were being brought up. You have to look at the parents. You have to look at the parents here. Now, what do we do about that? When do you talk to your children about sex, Nino?
I believe you should start I think you should start maybe around 8. I would say 8 because, like you say, the teenage pregnancy is already pretty high level anyway. So I think maybe about 8 years old, I think you may get a book, let's say a science book or somewhere, whatever, show the female reproductive system and how that goes on. But I think you should start about 8 and talk about the birds and the bees. Tell your child the do's and don'ts. Tell your child this is going to happen, because I don't think you should run from. And I think you should just tell them, hey, this is what goes on. This is you tell them about protection. But I would think, meaning using condoms and everything else. But I just think you start by 8 years old, because today kids are pretty smart and they tune in on the thing. So me personally, my daughter or my son, I would start about 8 years old, having that long talk, take them through a slow process and say, well, this is what you're going to face and this is how it goes.
Yeah, well, 8 years old is kind of early, in my opinion. You know, that's Nino for you. Know, Nino is a very straightforward person. And this is his opinion here. At 8 years old, I don't even know what grade they're in at 8, but that
third
seems
grade,
third or fourth grade.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to me to explain sex to a kid at 8 years old. I wouldn't know where to start. But this is what we're here for. We're trying to figure out how can we stop teenage pregnancies. How can we?
Hey, and teenage starts at 13. So I mean, I'm just saying, I would start at 8, maybe a little bit, but I started because a teenager officially becomes a teenage at 13, and so you got to look at it. A young lady has a cycle at 13, and if she can have a cycle, she can get pregnant.
So that would be a good time to start talking to your kids about sex and what to do and what not to do and those things. Parents, one of the things that we like to talk about is what's unsaid. We see in the news what's going on. We see kids doing all kind of bad things, from stealing, joining gangs, and giving their parents a lot of back talk and stuff like that. We have kids have to deal with bullying in school. So these are some of the things that we need to figure out, how we need to talk to our kids so we won't have these problems. And that was one of them. Nino come up with a good idea. The earlier, the better. And, and it's up to each individual parent on how they're going to bring this subject up and talk to them. But parents, this is something that must be talked about with your children, because this is a big problem in the community.
Right.
We having too many teenage pregnancies. Mm-hmm. And we need to do something about that. One of the other things that we need to talk about, how do you talk to your kids about the dangers of joining gangs? We see kids succumbing to peer pressure and doing a lot of things that they normally wouldn't do, that's out of character for them, because they're in school now and have a lot of people putting pressure on them. So how do you deal with that? This is one of the things we're talking about today. How do you talk to your kids about the dangers of joining the gang and how to stay away from people that's involved in that?
You eradicate them from that, and that's where, if you can get them in sports activities like football, or even little girls that can play basketball, that I believe that's how you get them. You get them early and get them in activities, after school activities, which can get their mind off games. Because like you said, to your point, it is gangs going along. And then let's look at it point blank, people. When do most gang members start out? They start when they real young, and I'm talking about real young, because what happens is they don't have them parents. The parents disappear from their life, and so they go join the gang because they feel like that's their only form of family. So that's why if you are a father or a mother, you get them in after school activities, playing sports, and then that would take some of that from, then they don't have time to be looking at gangs or running to somebody because they got the family base around them right there themselves.
Yeah, and a lot of parents, you don't check and see who your kids' friends are.
That's facts.
And that's something that is a big problem. When we were growing up back in the day, your parents would always want to know who your friends are and want to know about their parents. But now you see kids having friends, and the parents don't even know anything about the friend or anything about the friend's parents. And a good indicator, if the friend's parents are involved in gangs or something like that, then there's a good chance that the kids are going to be involved in that. They're going to follow whatever their parents doing. So, as a rule of thumb, I believe a parent, we got to go back to how we used to do things. You have to be involved in your kid's life. You have to know who their friends are. You can't just be oblivious to who they're hanging out with when your kid come home and say they have a friend, or they finna go over this guy's house or this girl's house, because you have no idea who these people are. So I believe that's one of the things that we have to start back doing, is being completely in our kids' life, knowing everything they're doing, including their friends, Nino.
That's true. And also, as you knowing the friends, as me and my wife, we should get to know your friends' parents. Y'all have to y'all have to start the conversation. Y'all have to come together and discuss and talk about each other, figuring out what they're doing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, even from what kind of job they work on, you can even go from the religion, what church they go to, what's their denomination and all. So yes, you have to get to know the friends, but also us as the parents get to know the friends' parents too. I think that's a big key to it.
And another problem inside the schools that we as parents need to address and to talk to our kids about so we won't have that problem is bullying.
Yes, sir.
How do you deal with bullying? There was a news article coming out of, I believe it was in Wisconsin, I believe, where a kid was being bullied at school, and he came back to school with a gun to stop the kids from bullying. And they ended up having to lock the schools down, and the kid with the gun ended up getting kicked out of school. Now, how do you deal with bullying? Schools are supposed to be a place where you can go and learn without peer pressure and things of this nature. So, how do you talk to your kids about bullying? How do you tell them how to operate if they're being bullied and what to do? What do you do if your kid is being bullied, and how do you handle that, Nino? What do we do?
First of all, I believe one of the things you do is you don't mock or talk about a person because they're a certain way, or they look a certain way, or they wear a certain attire or apparel or clothes. Now, we're not talking about just something that's totally ridiculous, but you don't, because everybody is different. And also try to befriend or be cool or look out for such other indicators as kids that's very standoffish, because a lot of standoffish kids a lot of times are being bullied, and so they don't know how to react, and so when they get to themselves, then they hold in a lot of hostility. And as far as telling my child or my kid, what I would say like this: how you have to ridicule that is be open to be friends. I'm not talking about be friends, be open to friends. Talk to people, communicate, socialize. Get to know your peers on a daily basis.
Well, what do you do? Do we still teach our kids? If somebody hits you, you hit them back. If somebody pick up a brick, you pick up a knife. If they barely hit you, you hit them harder. How do we teach our kids to avoid conflicts like that. Because now remember, you went to school too, and sometimes you may be backed into a corner. You may be backed into a corner. So do we teach our kids not to fight? Because this is going on in schools, and we can't act like we don't know what's going on. So if there's a fight, if your kid is challenged to a fight in school, what do we do?
Well, now if my kid is challenged, then I would also tell them, I wouldn't be mad if they protect themselves, because I don't want my child to be a coward, because right then and there, they can be bullied. You can't just be picked on. You don't go looking for nothing. You go and you try to bring peace. But if somebody challenges you, you have to protect yourself. I don't think nothing wrong with that. Because think about it. It's a form of bullying. And what a bully gonna do? If a bully challenge you one time and you don't respond, they gonna keep challenging you. They gonna keep challenging you. And what's the biggest way to kill a bully? Or what's the biggest way to stop the bullying from bullying you? When you step up and challenge the energy that he or her is bringing.
Well, what if this bully is somebody you can't whoop? What if this bully is a bully? What if this bully have everybody afraid of him and nobody can deal with him? See, it's easy to say, hey, fight him back. But yeah, what if you can't whoop him and this guy beat you to death?
Well, then what do you want to do? So you want to go to the counselors and tell them, and then first thing gonna be said, well, you're a little tattletale, so because you can go and tell the teachers, and you can go and tell the principal or whoever who's running the school, but the flip side, I believe, of that is once you get from around them, and then the bully is gonna circulate to all the other kids around, and then they gonna mock you or they gonna talk about you. Oh, well, you went tattletale. You're a little tattletale. So, of course, if you're facing a big monster and you can't deal with him, you got to get him off of you. You might want to go tell somebody, but sometimes it can be repercussions in that, because they be like, well, you weren't told, and now you're a tattletale, or you went and just blows the whistle on the bully. So, like I say, I don't really condone violence, but I can see that way where protect yourself. And I also can see the way what you saying too a little bit, Dave. If that bully is a monster, but hey, I mean, you got to get it out for you. You got to get them out for you one way or another. You got to stop the madness.
Yeah, and Nino brought us to a key point, and I'm glad he brought that up, and that is the biggest problem in the black community is what Nino just mentioned, and that's being a tattletale, a whistleblower, or a do-gooder. That's frowned upon in the black neighborhood, in the black community. Oh, you're a tattletale. Let's think about what a tattletale is. A person that go tell something that was wrong. And he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy for going to do the right thing, to tell the authorities if something was wrong. If I'm being bullied, to go tell somebody, I'm being labeled a tattletale. Well, guess what happens then? Why do you think that drug dealers can operate with total immunity in the neighborhoods? Because we have been taught, mind your own business, don't be a tattletale.
Look the other way.
Look the other way. And that's what happens at school. A person being bullied, what do? He looked the other way. He looks the other way. And what did that do? Empower the bully. We don't go tell it because that makes you look weak. What are you telling it for? You supposed to handle your own business. That's only being taught in the black community. And that is very stupid. Black people, you should be tattletales. You should be the biggest tattletales. If somebody move into your neighborhood and they sell drugs, you should tell it. But what we do, we look the other way. If we
David,
see some,
you got a point there, and I'm going to let you get
No,
go
ahead.
No, you got a point there, because I have seen the Caucasian majority, and I've seen the Caucasian people. Man, they'll go tell it like it ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They will go tell it like it ain't nothing. Ain't losing no sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it. Going to get the job done, because they like this. I don't have time for this problem to keep persisting. I don't have time. I have seen it. They will go tell it, and it's not another notion mentioned. So you're probably right on that, because the biggest deal about tattletaling us is snitching is the African American. That's the biggest narrative around. Why are you snitching? Why are you telling?
And why do we teach that? I'm talking to our parents. Why do we teach mind your own business? That don't concern you. When if you see a crime being done and do nothing about it, you is just as guilty as the person. And they say, if you see your brother doing wrong and you don't say nothing to him about it, that's you just as bad as he is.
You this is bad.
So why do we teach that? Do that make any sense? Do that make any sense to teach that to our kids?
You're right, David, because I want to make another point. You are really rolling. Now, you're right, because think about it. If you commit a crime, you and two more people break into this car, and it's three of y'all. Now, actually, two people broke into it, but the one person know about it. That all three of y'all gonna go because you are accessory. So I see what you're saying.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
You still, so you might have been like, you know about it, and you don't say nothing about it. You just as much as a problem as the people that's making the problem.
Yeah, that's why in court they would call you as a material witness. You was there. You were part of this. You saw it. You might want to look out or whatever. But you were part of this and didn't do nothing about it. If you with a group of people, and this is for the kids out there, you with a group of people,
right?
And they decide, hey, we finna go break into something. You're supposed to get away from them. You're supposed to get away from them because you don't know if they're gonna actually do it, but you get away from them. Now, if it's done, and the next day, oh, somebody broke into this and somebody got assaulted and whatever, and you know this, what do? You most people gonna say, man, I'm not gonna say nothing about it. But someone has been injured in this. An innocent person has been hurt. And you know what happened and you don't come forward. How can you deal with that guilt? Is that the righteous thing to do if you know of a crime and don't go report it? See, this is what hurts our community. We see these people turn up the communities with the drugs, with the violence and the guns, and do not report it. We look the other way while our community being destroyed and our children are being destroyed. See, that's what we want to talk about now, is that not being a tattletale is destroying our communities because we're not able to police our own communities because we're looking the other way. And that's what parents do a lot of times. They look the other way when their kid is gone because he's out of their hair. Just go on out there and play. Go on over there with your friend's house. We don't know who your friend is. But that's what we would do. And that's something that we have to rethink ourselves, you know?
Go over there and be mischievous to somebody else as long as you get out of my hair. Because though you my child, you bothered me. And that's in which I'm your parent, so I should take care of stop you from being mischievous. But I'm gonna go send you somewhere and put that problem on another parent that already got enough of going through their kids. Now I done send you my problem, and that's not right.
Well, a big problem in our community is grandparents raising the kids because the parents are not raising them. And can grandparents really raise the kids?
No. They're too old. They done lived their life. They have lived their life. They want to just mellow into their years, have their fun, and when the good Lord comes gets them, they just want to ride off in the sunset or whatever and gracefully go about, where it's death or whatever. But they shouldn't have to be put that responsibility of raising your kids, especially when you are way more healthier than them, because a lot of grandparents have sickness and illness too. Now, they're going to probably do it, but you're putting so much of a burden on them. That's not their responsibility. They raised you. They don't supposed to raise your kids.
That's true. And is there a certain age where the kids should be ready to get out on their own. You know, that's one of the things in our community we do. We say, hey, when you're old enough, it's time for you to get out on your own and start your own family or to do whatever, go get a job, but to get out of my house. We've been told that. And one time I talked to this guy from Greece. He's from Athens, Greece. And he says that is one of the big difference between their culture and our culture. He said they invest in their children. They don't tell them, hey, once you get a certain age, you got to get out. They say they invest in their children's education so they can go all the way through to whether they get a PhD, doctorate, or whatever. And the theory behind this is that we're here for them now so they can be there for us when we get in our older years and take care of us.
Especially if they working, just like you said, and making something out of themselves. Yes, nothing wrong with still having them around, and if they not just sitting home playing video games, you know, just sitting around, not doing nothing, just wasting time, not trying to be nothing. Being something wholesome, making something of their life. It's not nothing wrong with that, I believe, still being at home with your friend, because like you're doing something. And there's not nothing wrong with the parents investing in them, because not just only you seeing with your eyes that they are prospering and becoming a better citizen or being something, but then, you know, if something happens, you still have a watch on them, because no matter what, no matter how old you get or no matter how old they get, they're still your kids. So I don't see nothing wrong with investing in your kids, as long as they doing something. Now, if they being lazy, we talking about a whole nother story. But if they doing something and being, you know, bountiful and doing what they need to do and trying to reach goals and trying to be something in life, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
I don't either. But a lot of us do, because that is what we instill in our kids. We tell them, hey, once you get out of high school, if you ain't going to college, you need to get your job and get out the house. Start your own life. You know, be a man. Is that being a man? These are a lot of the things that we've been brought up and instilled in us, and we are instilling these same values in our kids, but it's these good values. It's these good values.
And I think so on that too, David, I think a lot of times that even puts the pressure on the kid, because they already have it in their mindset like, well, no matter what's going on, I got to get out because my parents done told me I got to go. So instead of this taking their time and developing, taking that caterpillar and letting that caterpillar be in a butterfly, they feel like they got to move fast. And now, only thing what happened was they done been pushed out. So now things have happened where they're not, you know, they're not doing what they need to do. They're not living life. They're not being what they are, they can be. And so they really have to come back anyway. So, hey, just let them, you know, it's not nothing wrong with that, but you can push them out way too fast. You can push them out way too fast.
Yeah, he said that the guy I talked to, he said that is one of the big differences. And that's why the family structure over here is broken. It's because you push kids out when they're not ready, and then they fail. He says it's just a recipe for disaster, and the statistics bear it out. When you look at it, you see a lot of kids that once they get out of high school, if they don't go to college, a lot of them is unemployed, walking the streets, and still have not figured out what they want to do in life. And we seem to force them to try to figure that out before they're ready, you know?
Yeah, because you got to look at it like this. Just because Johnny became mature, Cassandra became mature at 20, 21, that don't mean Paula or that don't mean Jacob does the same thing, because this age is a number, but everybody mature and manifest themselves in different ways. So you can't just go on, okay, well, they 21 or okay, they're a certain age, so automatically they just should be ready to face the world. No. It's just a number, but they still could be still childlike. So you got to let them develop. You got to, as long as they put in the effort, I don't mind. As long as they put in the effort, I don't mind.
You know, we have our kids growing up, and you have a lot of kids, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and especially after high school, that has never had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, had not even experienced that type of stuff, and yet they finished high school. And we as parents say, if you're not going to college or whatever, you need to get a job and get out. And they're not even ready to deal with life. We done set a age limit on when we stop parenting our children and kick them out on their own. What would you say, Nino? You had a daughter, and we had a caller that called in about this. You had a daughter that finished high school, never had a boyfriend in her life, and her first boyfriend is a 26-year-old man. How would you deal with that?
And she's like, what, 18, 19, 20?
19 years old. Fresh out of high school, legally grown by age, even though she's not 21, I guess they say 18 or 19. But the guy's 26. Almost like Jay-Z and Beyonce when they first met. You know, you got almost an 8 to 10 year gap. But the difference is the young lady have not had any relationships with anyone, but yet she was kicked out of the house, was told that, hey, it's time for you to go. You know, you finish high school, you're not going to college, get your job, save your money, get your apartment. She got an apartment, and the first boyfriend she finally got was 8 years older than her. How would you deal with that? Is that okay in your book?
Well, I would feel like if I was the one, again, that made her leave, I would feel like some responsibility there, because first of all, she was 18. You never had no boyfriend. So why would you already just have a 26-year-old boyfriend? But then I would look at myself, because again, I didn't let her grow. I pushed her out, but then I want to get all hot under the collar, because the man she's with now is 26. Okay, so she might look at it like, well, this man treat me respectful and everything, but damn, Dad, you pushed me out. You didn't give me time to let me reach what I need to reach my full potential. So saying that, I would be kind of upset mostly with myself, because even though she got out and she's getting it, but she's never had no boyfriend. She's basically a virgin. So I'm throwing my baby girl in this cold, hard world, and she's basically a virgin, and then now this 26-year-old guy is having, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, whatever, but me, myself, I would feel something that blame is towards me.
Well, you brought up a good point about that, and I wanna go back to something you just said. Do you remember when T.I. was in the news about his daughter, and he was saying he was checking her?
I can't think of it. I know you're talking about hymen or something like that. Yeah, hymen or something.
To make sure she hadn't been with a boy or had any sex. Okay, as a parent, is that appropriate for the father? Now, a lot of times you have fathers raising a kid, a girl, without the mother. So the father have to actually be the father and the mother as far as on a lot of these conversations, and I understand that. But is that something appropriate? We talked about that when T.I. said that you check that, make sure your daughter is not having sex. Now, there goes the communication. If you double back and checking behind her back and not taking her word for it. So, what do we do in that case? You know, let's say you a single parent, you raising a girl, and the girl is of age, like we were saying, and promiscuous. Do you ask her, hey, have you been with anybody yet? Do you find out is she still a virgin? How does that conversation go? It's kind of awkward, but it is a conversation that you have to have with your kids. How do you do that T.I. deal? Like T.I. did. He said he checked her, and people went crazy about that. They said, hey, that was not appropriate for you to check your girl like that.
Well, you have to communicate, but yeah, T.I. come that way, because see, T.I. know what kind of dude he is, so he looked at it like that. That's why I think a lot of that was, he was basing on, every man because T.I. knows how he was a Rolling Stone. But anyway, what I'm trying, even as a young guy, T.I. was a Rolling Stone because we know T.I. history, so I don't have to get on here and say this back and forth. But no, I would communicate with her because I think that's very private. I think that's very sacred. I believe she has the right for me not to just check into that. Let me talk to her about that. You know, I can't invade her privacy like that. I can't. That's what I believe. You know, I can't invade her privacy like that. But like I said, I think a lot of that was because T.I. was just looking what kind of guy he was. So automatically, he just thinking that his daughter is getting it on. But I would just communicate with her. I would communicate with her. I'm like, baby, if you want to come to me about anything, that's fine. But I would communicate with her. But I wouldn't invade her privacy like that.
Oh, so you saying you wouldn't go check your kid's room? You wouldn't ramble through their things to see if they have condoms or birth control pills or secret little notes and stuff like that. You wouldn't snoop and go in your kid's room to double check them, even if they done told you they're not doing it. You're not gonna go double check them. You wouldn't.
I would have to say I would have to have some probable cause because even if she said she didn't, it don't mean she lied. She might not. I would have to have probable cause, and I would have to see something that would really just turn on the light bulb in my head and say, well, maybe I do need to check her or something like that. Maybe I need to. And I know little girls and girls, just like everybody can be sneaky because anything can be hid, but I probably would have to have some probable cause.
Before you even double check your kid. Well, I know most parents, they don't take their kids' word for this type of stuff. When the kids is gone, they check in the rooms. And now we need to examine that. I believe that parents should double check their kids. You can't take their word for it. Because you got to remember, when you was growing up, you was the biggest liar out there. You lied to your parents, don't think they're not lying to you. And they may not be. Right. They may not be.
Right.
But in order to have that peace of mind, you have to double check. You have to snoop. You have to go through their things when they're not there. It's not an invasion of privacy if they're in your house. See, one thing we do is give our kids too much space. You know, with this new movement, we like, oh, we don't want to invade your privacy. You have no privacy if you living in my house. And I need to know for certain. You can say anything out of your mouth. You know, it's hard for a girl to come home and say, yeah, Daddy, I just had sex with that boy. What? Are you kidding me? You think she's going to come home and admit that she actually did that? And you're going to say, oh, well, I don't know what your response would be. I don't even want to get into that. So now we asking the question, will they be honest with you when it comes to those personal matters? Will the girl come home and say her and the guy did this and that? Or will the guy come home and say that? See, this communication's got to be open, but you have to be able to double check for yourself to have certainty and closure on these types of things because you know how a sweet talking boy is and a beautiful sweet talking girl is. You know, the girl can wrap her daddy around her finger and have him thinking she do no wrong. And she could be the biggest devil out there, Nino.
That's facts. But, you know, I just think, again, I think, yeah, you might should check them, but they could be keeping it. They even though you think they could be lying, they could be straight about it. Because some girls and some guys are with the straight and narrow. They straight for they on the straight and narrow. And I guess what I would say, because I know they living in my house, but I don't want to suffocate them either, though. Because see, suffocating them make them back out or can push them out too. So maybe we do put a little bit more trust in them than usual, and then, you know, like you said too, we all lied, including me or whatever when we was young, but I want to believe, and maybe this is not going to be, I want to believe that I can put a little trust in my child. And it might come back to bite me. But I just want to believe I can put a little trust in my child.
Yeah, and everybody want to trust their child, but to be a good vigilant parent, you have to stay on them. You have to watch them like a hawk.
Well, yeah,
because the outside influences that they don't tell you about, you know, the kids that's doing the things, and they find it, you know, fascinating. Right. You know, you find a lot of kids from the suburbs that want to act like the kids in the inner city in the project.
And with the social media effect too, right?
Yeah.
Right. I know.
Yeah. So as a parent, you got to stay on top of your kids in order to have this family unit right. Just like my man said, you got to keep an eye on your kids and invest in them and forever, basically. There is no end to parenting. And as us as a community, we have to rethink what a tattletale and whistleblower have done to our community. See, we're trying to find a way to make our communities great. And that's one of the ways that we can make our communities great and this country great. See, we talk about how to improve and how to parent better. And it starts at home. The parent is the beginning of all the learning for the child.
Right. It's the root.
It's the root.
It's the root. Right.
So if you teach the kids the right thing to honor their father and their mother, one of the main things, right, and to treat others the way you would want others to treat you, that's a start. And that is a start on how we can make everything great again. Now, me and Nino had a discussion on what should be done to make everybody have an even playing field. You know, we know that everything is not right out here. We know we have different programs to help out minorities. But is that enough? Is that enough? Is that fair? So how do we start to make everything fair and equal again? Do we need 40 acres and a mule? I noticed that they had a bill in Congress to give reparations to descendants of slaves. And that bill went nowhere. That bill went nowhere. So then let me ask you then, how do we even the playing field to where everybody have a chance at the American dream? We know, you know, it's out there and we say, hey, it's there for the taking. Is that a fact or is that a myth, Nino?
Well, you can't have different standards and laws for Asians than you have different standards and laws for African Americans. You can't have different standards and laws for Caucasians as you have different standards and laws for Latinos or that kind of descent. You can't have different standards and laws for Haitians as you have different standards and laws for, let's say, Argentina, let's say who just stand there, or let's just say even Arab, just staying in the United States of America. You have to have them all, and they all have to constitute and be laid down for each and every race the same way. It can't be no double standard, because that's what the problem is going to be. It can't be no double standard. What's good for my kind, my race, it should be good for the Caucasian race. What's good for the Caucasian race should be good for the Latino race. You can't, you got to, if you want an even playing field, you got to have even laws and by law. You can't, okay, well, this okay because such and such is this, and then this is okay because such and such this. No, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have, it's going to be an uproar. It's going to be an uproar because it's elementary. I'm not getting treated like they getting treated.
Well, how do you even the playing field? This is what I would like to find out. You know, they say we always want to play the race card and this. How do we even the playing field to where we all getting treated fairly? Well, I think one of the starts, you know, when you look at it, you look at who making the laws, and when you look around and you don't see nobody looking like you know the laws are not for you. you know. So what do we do to get people's attention? Well, I got a few ideas, and I'm going to talk about one of them in particular now. By us voting, and I mean the African-American, black people, whatever you want to call it, by us voting, that takes our power away. And I'm going to say that again. By us voting, it takes our power away because our vote is diluted.
Right.
It's put with Democrat, Republican. So we don't get anything out of it because all of their big programs are really geared for them. If you take that vote away, let an election cycle go where the black people sit down and don't vote at all. Take that whole voting block away.
Not one black person.
Not one. Then you will have them courting your vote like never, like you've never seen. See, you got to take something away from them.
Before they wake up, and then I get what you're saying, you take something away from them, now they coming because they want it.
Yeah, see, they've been taking you for granted.
Yeah.
You know, like right now the voters like, oh, we assuming black people, y'all, come on, bring all y'all Democrat votes over. It's a foregone conclusion. You know, you're taking for granted. See, you got to make your vote count. And by making your vote count, is take your vote away right now. Take your vote away. Because it's not going to hurt you.
No.
It's not going to hurt you because look what's been happening. Look what happened under the Democrats and Republicans. We've been flipping back and forth, and we ain't went nowhere.
Nowhere.
So wake up. You ain't getting nowhere with either party. So make the party realize
that they miss you.
That's right. That is the first thing that will get their attention. Is sit down and don't go vote. We ain't listening to the Democrats. We ain't listening to the Republicans. And I guarantee you that next election cycle, they're going to be courting the black vote like never before. But once they feel that you are already over on one side or another, they don't need you. Your vote is diluted. We done already put it over. You guys ain't worth nothing right now. And we done put you in the category with all of these LGBTs and everybody else, and the black vote is nothing. You done diluted your vote and don't even realize you have no power.
And yet these radio stations will get on in the morning from 6 o'clock to 3 in the evening and preach and beg and say how much that your vote is so important. And actually, my mother had told me back, and I know, God rest her soul, boy, that vote ain't going to make no difference with you. Don't get caught up in that. It's like you say, some way it is diluted. That vote ain't going to make no difference because all you're doing is voting, and then they just throw it in the mix.
Yeah. What are they doing for you? What are you getting out of your vote?
Nothing.
Where's your lobby?
Nothing.
What do you get? We get nothing. We get nothing. But yet, they come out and say, hey, you got to go vote this way or that way, or hell's going to break loose. We need to get him in there and get them out of there. And black people have no idea what's going on other than they think, hey, we died for the right to vote, and they think that's...
like the one vote gonna move the needle.
Your vote only matters when they need it.
Right.
When you are needed. You can throw that one vote up there and go one way or the other, you ain't getting nothing. What are you getting out of your vote? What are you getting out of your vote? When do you hold these people accountable that's coming to court in your vote? You know, asking them questions. What are you going to do for me? The things that mean something to you. You know, they telling us, hey, vote this way. Well, this one way, y'all done brought in all of these people, and they taking jobs from me. But y'all told me to vote for them to kill my job. I'm voting to kill my job because y'all said so, because I don't know what's going on. Y'all saying this guy, he used the N-word, so he's a bad guy, like this other person did. You see, but we so dumb. We say this guy is racist and this one not, and yet they go to the same country club. We are just that naive. We're just that naive. That's why we never get anything for our vote, because we don't even understand voting. And I know I'm gonna have a bunch of black people get on there and be irate about it, and they have no clue. Have no clue. Our Congress people up there, yeah, you know, you got to fight to get, you know, first to be this and that. But look around when you up there in Congress and in the Senate. How many people you see around that looks like you that's gonna look at that's what's important to you and vote on those types of things and bring that to the attention of everybody? None. You up there with them and you voting on their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and all you have is the color, and we like, hey, we got her up there, him up there. That person still is not representing us.
No.
Until you have a majority of people up there that look like you that feels the same way you feel about something, you won't get no change.
And actually reacting on what you need, reacting on making your vote stand.
Yeah.
Reacting on making your vote prominent. Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah, because that is true. You got a lot of people up there look like us, but it's not doing nothing for us.
No, not doing nothing for us, but they'll throw out something like, hey, we're going to give $25,000 to you to get your home. Throwing that right at black folks. You know, hey, you vote for me, we'll give you $25,000 for a down payment on your house. No, that would never happen. Never happen. That's just something to throw out there where people could go run. Well, we need to vote for her. She talking about giving us $25,000 for her. You'll never get that.
That's politics.
That's politics. See, that's politics. So how do we best help ourselves? You know, we trying to figure a way to help our children, to have our community right, to have the family unit together, to grow and prosper. So now, what should the government do to help us out with that? See, we're the group that no one pay attention to until it's election time to come get our vote. There ain't nobody over here worrying about why these people in our neighborhoods selling drugs, why these neighborhoods are run down. How do these people that don't have anything run around with guns? How does you people let that happen? How do you let drugs in this neighborhood and no drugs in the white neighborhood, and then you look and you see white people in the black neighborhoods buying the drugs?
Buying the drugs.
But they can't go to their neighborhoods and buy it. And we supposed to just think that that's just how it is, that nobody with authority have anything to do with that. And yet, we will sit up here and die to vote Democrat or Republican and get nothing out of it.
And get nothing out of it. Because the government is too much worrying about helping foreign companies and foreign policies. Our government, I'm talking about the United States of American government, they not trying to help us. They not trying to, like say, vote. They too much, well, what can I do for them over here? What can I do for them over here? And we still got problems from homelessness and everything else right here. But they want your vote.
And this directly affects the raising of our kids that we are talking about. If you don't have a government that's helped supporting you, then once you get down on the levels with the upbringing of the kids, you're not gonna stand a chance, because look at all the obstacles that's put in your way. You know, you have inferior schools, which is a direct result of what's going on in Congress. These people are supposed to be looking after you. They're not funding the public schools, the inner city schools. They don't care about those. They don't care about that. They don't care about the education you get there. They don't. But yet, those are the schools where the majority of our kids are gonna go.
That's it.
Well, we talked about, since we talking about how to make us great and how to help our community, let's talk about a little more politics. We said one candidate, you know, he's unfiltered and he say what's on his mind, and people get mad about it. He say immigrants are taking black jobs, and people got in an uproar about that. Then in the debate, he tried to tone it down and not say black jobs, which he should have stayed with black jobs, because black folks understood that. But they'll put some black people up there, puppets, to say how they were offended that he said that. I was outraged at the black people. I was proud that Trump said that, because when Trump said that, it resonated to those black folks who have lost those jobs to immigrants. Mm-hmm. See, you'd have to be on one of them jobs who have and lost it to someone that couldn't speak English, that they brought over, and they replaced you with him, and cut his salary.
But the other candidate wants to open up the border control for the immigrants that's taking the job.
But we get mad because he used black jobs. Black people don't act stupid. Don't let nobody get up on TV and holler about you was insulted about that. You know what they meant. If you out there working a job and you done seen the immigrants that they done brought in and it's taking your job, that done took your job, you know exactly what Donald Trump was talking about. Mm-hmm. You know the 12 million jobs he's talking about. Mm-hmm. But yet you'll get the other group up there and they talk about, oh, that guy, look what he did. He tried to overthrow the government. He did this, he did that. Something that don't resonate with our people. Mm-hmm. And now you got us all up in arms about that. When the man is speaking directly to you,
that's it.
Telling you, hey, I let more of y'all out of jail for that 94 crime bill that they put y'all in jail for little amounts of drugs, and they let the big drug suppliers and dealers stay out. They didn't go to jail. But yet you users who are inner city people, y'all all go to jail for that. They ain't saying nothing about that. And guess who let them out? Trump. Mm-hmm. Trump.
Pardon for Lil Wayne, Kodak Black. I ain't seen a Democrat pardon nobody. Have you?
I seen when LeVar Ball and them kids got into that trouble with China, Trump went over there and got him out. Mm-hmm. It was Trump got him out.
Yeah.
It was Trump got him out.
Don't get twisted for how the man talk. Because he gonna talk how he gonna talk. And that's what everybody get good. Oh, he did so obnoxious and he's so abrasive when he's talking. But that ain't what it's about. People talk how they talk.
They talk how they talk.
Perfect talking woman here want to lock up more fellas and
Come on, you kidding me? You kidding me? She done more harm to black folks than Trump. But we ain't going there.
No, we ain't going there.
Well, we can go there. Because I'm sick of black people get mad when you say, hey man, you know, I'm listening to what Trump's saying and it's kind of resonating. And all y'all want to tell me is, oh, and 20 years ago he said the N-word. He kicked some people out of his apartments. He did it. Well, golly, how many old white people his age haven't used the N-word?
And ain't you heard the N-word before anyway?
People his age?
Yeah.
You know what generation they grew up in?
Right.
So we ain't gonna be stupid.
Right.
And if you think Biden and the Muslims ain't said it, you really are stupid.
Right.
You really are naive. And think just something as minute as that is gonna make you not vote for a person that have your interests better than the other guy.
David, I got a tweet from one of our callers that said, now I don't know how true this is, because again, this might be cap, but what is Cameron and Mace name? I can't think of their podcast, but I think it was, but whatever, they got mad at Mace because he said, I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah, they're going to get mad at you. Again, it goes back to, they assume if you're black, you vote Democrat.
There you go.
You take it for granted and don't know it.
That's the biggest misconception around.
You take it for granted.
Misconception around.
You take it for granted and don't know it. You don't know it. You a foregone conclusion and you get nothing for your vote. That's why Trump made a statement the other year when he ran. Black people, what do you got to lose voting for me? and they got mad about that. And then he made this statement.
Chuck it derogatory. He wasn't even being derogatory. He was putting facts.
He said black people, think about it. He said black people too stupid to vote for him. Black people got mad at that too and didn't read between the lines. Too stupid to vote for.
They be twisting them narratives, boy.
Now, if he'd have said, see, black folks too smart to vote for him, then you would have realized that he's a bad guy. But you don't know to play on words.
Yeah.
He's saying you're so stupid because you're smelling the sauce of these people and ain't even looking. Mm-hmm. Just too stupid. Mm-hmm. Too stupid. Mm-hmm. Knowing I'm the better vote for you guys.
Knowing it.
Because right now, whether you black folks know it, you Donald Trump's best friend. Because he know it ain't us after him with these assassination attempts. He know that. That is why on that first assassination attempt, when he got hit, he threw up black power. You seen that fist in there?
He
That's
did.
black power.
He did.
He didn't throw up the peace sign like they throw. He threw a black power, and that was letting y'all know, hey, I know who my friends are. I know y'all ain't got nothing to do with this.
You know?
So black folk, keep your mouth closed on all of this type of stuff, because it's really sickening. Because you voting for somebody that's taking your jobs away, taking your jobs away. When you come home, you're like, man, they gave my job to these people that just got over.
Want to quickly get you locked up.
You see these people that come over here. Next thing you know, they done opened up stores, they buying houses, and you done been here forever. Can't even get a house loan. Can't even get a
That's
loan.
what I'm just gonna say.
Can't even get a loan.
I'm talking about get money to buy a house within weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Let me go and try to.
Yeah. And is that fair? We help build a place. We can't even get a decent loan. You gonna hide behind credit scores and all of this. Well, this guy just got over here. What is his credit score? I'm looking at these guys that just got here, can't speak no English, driving new cars, buying these houses, you know. But yet, get out and vote Democrat, black people. You can't even see you're not even progressing.
No.
We ain't, and every time we shall overcome, win. We right where we been. No advance from Obama, nothing happened. What happened then? Nothing. Nothing. Clinton.
Nothing.
You know,
Nothing.
come on. And so now we're going to sit up here and holler about, oh, we got a new person up there who couldn't even win the nomination herself. Came in last place when she was running to be president. If Donald Trump, and that's what I would do, I would file a lawsuit, because there's no way she should be the nominee, because Joe Biden has not been declared incompetent. So how do he get to step aside? He won the nomination. He was not declared insane nowhere. He should still be able to run. He is still the president right now.
He's still the president.
So how did, it's almost like the Democrats said, Joe, you won the primaries, but you ain't gonna be able to beat him in the general election. We need to let her run the general election. So you step aside. That's not right. There should be a lawsuit filed about that, because she couldn't even get the nomination. The Democrats ate her up. And now, because nobody liked Trump, they like, hey, let's put a woman up there, and you know, a woman who said she ain't black, but now trying to say she's black. And now they getting Trump where Trump can't even talk about it. Where Trump, you should talk about it, because that is an issue. If you supposed to be proud of who you are. White folks are proud to be white. Black folks are proud to be black. She was proud to be an Indian until there wasn't no votes in there. Now she's black. That's like Trump say. She didn't become black until she needed our vote. Now they want to get mad at Trump by bringing that up because he's white.
David, and I was just gonna say this too. So they throw her up there, and I know Hillary won, but because she's a woman, counting on that she gonna get all the woman vote, but I don't think she's still gonna get all the women vote.
Well, that remains to be seen. But the point I want to bring up is that she shouldn't be able to run against Trump because the nominee was not declared unfit. He just had a terrible moment up there in the debate.
Yeah, and he had a little health lapse.
Yeah.
That's what he had. A little health lapse. That's all he had.
So
Yeah.
if he's not able to run since he won a nomination, he shouldn't be president right now.
Right.
He shouldn't be running the country right now. Because if you're able to run the country right now,
You able to run? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Re-election.
You ready? Yeah, you ready to run for the
So
election?
basically, y'all cheated Trump. Y'all cheated Trump right now.
Yeah.
Because some kind of way, this is not right. And I don't know how they let it go this far, but this man should have been declared unfit, like they'll do in a trial. You unfit to stand trial, so you can't stand trial. He should have been unfit to run for office, but he wasn't. It was just Nancy Pelosi and the other guys, the other people got behind and said, hey man, this guy's not gonna beat Trump. We need to get him out of there and let's get somebody here who can be. Not only was that, he was the one who picked his successor. Now the guy that you say that you ain't gonna run, but we're gonna let you pick the guy to take the person to take your place. It just, it's not fair.
No, well, that's why Trump like he is. Like you said, I smell conspiracy all over this. I smell it. I smell it.
But yet we'll sit
My
back.
nostrils are wide open.
Yeah, but we'll sit back and play like we don't even see that. And we supposed to be fair. They mad at this man for whatever reasons. And the reason is he's mad at those folks in there that we don't know. See, Trump is part of the establishment. He knows the establishment that's screwing up that he don't like, and he's going after them. Mm-hmm. Ain't got nothing to do with black folks. Mm-hmm. Okay? Black folks, sit down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trump is after them. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And that's why they after him.
Yeah. And that's why I just finna go. Mm-hmm. That's why these current events that's happening and materializing, that's why they happen.
Well, let me lay something else on. That P. Diddy arrest, that arrest coincided taking the Trump assassination attempt off the news cycle. Mm-hmm. That happened. So this is big news. You done tried to kill this man twice. Somebody has. And it's been swept under the rug. This supposed to be front page news. We supposed to be all over that. But yet now all of a sudden, we throw P. Diddy out there when they could have did that anytime. Now we drown Trump out of the news cycle.
I remember, David, I was blind to it till you told me.
Yeah.
But I seen that little old, and contrary, even one of my superiors said, I didn't know that had happened. I thought it was a hoax. And I said, Mr. J, I thought it was the same thing. He said, I didn't know that happened. But until you brought it to my attention, I didn't even know that had happened.
Yeah, that's right. And it's done for a reason. It was done for a reason. They want to sweep that under the rug. It's like Trump said, you can't help but see some type of conspiracy going on here.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Y'all don't want this guy in there so bad.
Oh, yes.
Y'all don't want him in there so bad that all of this is happening. And since when did you can do something to somebody like that that's so important, and the public is not outraged, no matter what party he's with. We don't tolerate people trying to take shots at our leaders that's running for office. But yet, nothing is being said about that. We going on as business as usual. We done brought in another opponent for him. It's like, golly, Trump, what do you got to do? You running against two people.
Yes.
You don't even know who to prepare for.
No.
You got Biden and Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, something like that, yeah.
And how is this going to affect us? And that's what we're getting back to. How is this going to affect us? How does this affect our community? How does this affect our upbringing? When the Democrats, well, let's just say that, is open to everything. The traditional values that we used to stand for, man and a woman, marriage between a man and a woman. Not all of this that you can be whatever you want to be, type stuff. It's you can't be mad. You got to tolerate, in which we do. Man, woman. Just change everything around. Yeah. And if you don't like that, you are the bad guy. You're the bad guy.
That sure is facts. Because you cannot say nothing wrong. I had a little instance years ago, and it almost got me, and I didn't really think that I had went too far, but I had, and it was that same little narrative, the same sex, and then you cannot get out of character that, because I firmly believe in man and woman, but man, right now, you got to be able to sell man on man, woman on woman, animal on animal, or whatever's going on.
And then all of this talk about abortion. You see, I'm straight against that. Just like Republicans, straight against it. No abortion, no Planned Parenthood, all of that. None of that. But yet, the people who's affected by it don't even see that we are stopping your reproduction. Mm-hmm. Planned Parenthood is not for white people.
That's a black thing.
That's a black thing. Why you think those Planned Parenthoods are in the black neighborhood?
That's simple. That's a black thing. See,
who do you people think they are trying to keep from reproducing and encouraging to kill their babies? Mm-hmm. black women, black women, and you don't see it. You don't see it. And don't even consider the reason why. And you'll get mad at Trump, the Republicans. Don't know. They are trying to protect that for you. When the other ones are trying to talk you into killing your kids. Killing your kids. And don't even try to holler about, oh, in case of incest and rape. They'll try to throw out nightmare scenarios to try to prove their point and to try to scare you. And we're so naive it works. It's so naive it works. You don't even see that you are the ones eliminating your own self by voting this way for these policies that are destroying your people. So I say, if you're talking about making America great, then you look at what these politicians are saying. Look at the ones who say they proud to be white. Yeah, you're supposed to be proud to be your race, Trump. You're supposed to be proud if you black. You black and proud.
I'm proud I'm black.
If you Indian, you're supposed to be proud. But don't holler about, I was proud to be Indian now. I can't get no votes being Indian now. I'm finna say I'm black. No. That's what Trump should have doubled down on that.
Yeah.
He should have doubled down on that at the debate. Yeah, you said it. And now, but Trump looking at it like, oh, well, about being a white person saying it makes me look bad. No, it don't, Trump. Not the people who know the true person there. If you black and proud, you black and proud for your whole life.
Yes, no matter what.
Don't try to change who you are to cater to a group of people. That's an insult. That's an insult. So any black folks bragging that to me, it's an insult. Trump got black folks interested in more than she do. More than she do. Because one thing for sure, and I just stick with that issue, Trump them against abortion. Right there, she got you beat. He got you beat. Against abortion. Because abortion is taking killing us. Not everybody. Because, boy, how many Chinese people you see go get abortion? How many Arab people going to Planned Parenthood? Wake up, people. This is David.
This is Nino.
Tune in again to another episode of the David and Nino's podcast.